What's up, everybody? It's your favorite FPL YouTubers back at it with our first Game Week preview and analysis of the new season. I know we're excited. I hope you are. And let's get right into it. I'm Jarrett.
And I'm Evan.
And this is How to FPL.
Let's go. All right, guys. So, yeah, we're so excited for this season and for this game week. It's going to be great. We do have a few things on our mind before the start of this video, which we'll just go over through briefly right now. People are still talking about Kane versus Holland. Honestly, let's just go. Let's just take these point by point. Jared, do you have any thoughts on Kane versus Holland?
Oh man, I find myself going back and forth between each draft that I'm making. No, I don't.
Yeah. I mean, I think the basic calculation is we're more sure of Harry Kane and we're less sure of Holland, but Holland is playing for the best team in the league with great fixtures.
And Holland is looking like the prime captaincy option in Game Week 2, which I think you have to factor into your decision.
Yeah, absolutely. Just for clarity's sake, I'm pretty sure I'm on Kane, and I believe you are as well.
I, at the moment, am on Kane, but I think I will end up transferring him for Holland in Game Week 2, no matter what.
Yeah. I think my decision will be dependent on the results of the first game week. I don't really envision myself bringing in Holland until he at least scores in the Prem. But it would be, I'll be watching the game from behind the couch. So yeah. How about the Spurs wingbacks, Jarrett? This is
I think we're just really waiting on an update from Conte about who is going to play. Right now, Spurs wingbacks might be seen as a bit of a risky asset, but if we get some clarity about who might start, then all of a sudden that Southampton game at home looks pretty juicy.
So if Perisic is confirmed to start, do you think you'll bring him in?
Yes, definitely.
What about Doherty?
No. I think
Perisic.
I didn't watch their last game, but everyone was saying that even though Spurs lost, Perisic was clearly the best player on the field, and so that kind of sold me. But hey, we'll see.
We will see. And then another spicy topic is the 8.0 mids. I don't know about you, but I honestly think that they're a lot less. It's a lot more iffy, and there's a lot fewer clear options than it really seemed. I remember a few weeks ago, we were having trouble fitting all of the 8.0 mids in our drafts that we wanted, and now I'm kind of looking at the options and I don't think almost any of them look good, bar one or two.
Yeah, definitely. I would say, for people who already have 3 Liverpool players, Luis Diaz is an option. Mount is questionable because the Chelsea attack is questionable. I'd say Madison and Kulusevski are both probably good punts for the first game week or so. Mahrez, if he can keep his place, will be a good option, but that remains to be seen. Alvarez could be very underrated for how many minutes he's going to get at that wing spot, and we'll see if Mahrez can actually keep that spot. I think we're both in agreement that Saka is probably the standout 8.0 mid option at this point.
100%. And I completely agree about Madison and Kulusevski. I'm looking at them. I think for me, it's really a question of, do I want to take one game week punts, or do I kind of want to play a little bit longer term?
Yeah.
I'm kind of wary of those types of punts. How about triple Arsenal?
Oh, boy.
You're the Arsenal fan.
I'm on triple Arsenal right now. A triple Arsenal attack, to clarify. And I actually think it has its merits. Some people might look at that decision and think that it's extremely risky and that you're putting all your eggs in one basket. And That is true. But if you look at each individual, then I think the decision has merit. Gabriel Jesus looks absolutely essential. He's at like 73% ownership. Everyone has him. I would argue that Martinelli is extremely good value for his price and is clearly the best 6.0 and under option. And then Saka looks like the best 8 million option. And on top of that, Arsenal have probably the best fixtures out of any team for the first like 8 games or so. So,
and they've had a great preseason.
Yeah, I mean, we'll see. We'll see if they can do it on Friday. I'm nervous, to be honest, but yeah.
It honestly looks too good to be true. I think too many factors are lining up in their favor. There has to be something that goes wrong.
We'll see.
But and then the goalies. Well, we've had we are now blessed with a standout 4 million option. Now that Schmeichel's going to Nice.
Yeah, some questions still remain about who will actually start at Leicester. Will it be Ward or Iverson? But I think most people are in agreement that it'll be Ward to start with. But we'll get into everything.
Yep. So, clean sheet odds. We've got City and Liverpool up at the top here. United also up at the top. So if you're going Dallo, there's a good sign for you. But I do think it's a question of it's not just the first game week. So do we trust United's defense? I don't know.
Yeah, I do not agree with that number whatsoever. I don't know who's crunching those numbers, but I mean, Brighton just beat United 4-0 at the end of last season, so I wouldn't be so sure if I was a United fan.
100%. But I do think the reason we included these two guys, Ederson and Alisson, is just because they're viable FPL options now, and they haven't been for years, really, just because of their prices. Yeah. So I think you'll see a lot of these guys, at least Ederson.
But these numbers right here definitely suggest that we're going to see a lot of clean sheets this week. So should be some big scores.
We got some polls for you guys too. We always do a captain poll. So we've got, obviously, Salah leads the way with the captain poll. That's on the left there, but it's a justifiable choice to captain Kane. I think anybody else, Kane or Son, I think anybody else, you'd be hard pressed to make a good case for that. And then we've also got this poll for the Golden Boot. Oh no, sorry. That's going to be a future slide. This is a Kane versus Holland in Gameweek 1, which is really interesting because of how the numbers have shifted since the beginning of FPL.
Yeah.
But we talked about this
I think
before.
that the overall ownership numbers are still pretty close, but if you're looking at extremely engaged managers who are the ones who are going to be using Fantasy Football Scout, for example, they definitely do favor Kane. But as far as captaining Salah, he's playing a promoted team, Game Week 1, and he, in his time at Liverpool, has never failed to score on the opening day of the season. It's a no-brainer.
Yeah. Okay, and then our goal scorer odds for the first game week. Holland is up at the top. I think a reason a lot of people have been avoiding him is because of Kane's perceived better first fixture. If Holland had Bournemouth game week 1, I think everybody would have him. So it is interesting that he, according to these numbers, has just as good of a chance of scoring first game week as Kane.
But it is interesting. I am once again reconsidering my decision to start with Kane after seeing these numbers, especially if I'm just going to book a transfer for Holland in the start of game week 2. Oh man, this decision is going to go right down to the wire for me, and I imagine it will for a lot of FPL managers as well.
Yeah, absolutely. And obviously Ronaldo on this list is still a question
I don't
mark.
think he'll play.
I
Yeah,
don't think. Yeah.
but we'll see.
Oh man, and you want to take
Yeah.
this one?
Okay, so we're looking at all these beautiful men with opportunities for the Golden Boot. Uh, Holland is the runaway leader, according to the bookies, and I would probably agree with that. I'd have to imagine that even if Holland is not performing well, he's just going to be spoon-fed chances by all of Man City's creative players. But don't count out Mo Salah, who's been consistently at the top for the last 3 or 4 years. But if it wasn't one of those two, I think I'd be a little surprised, to be honest.
Yeah, I know. I mean, I think it's easy to discount the Spurs players too. They're looking to and honestly, Jesus, I think both Spurs and Arsenal look like they're shaping up to have good seasons. But again, I agree with you. I think it's hard to see somebody besides Liverpool or City forwards really doing
Yeah.
that.
Hey,
But
we'll see. I feel like there's
never know.
always a surprise who's near the top, and we'll see who that is this year.
Exactly.
Hopefully, Jesus.
Hopefully Darwin or Kai Havertz. Oh, yeah. Oh man.
All right, yeah. So we'll get into my current game week 1 lineup. Oh, it is spicy. We've got the Liverpool triple up with Trent and Robbo both in defense. Salah, my captain. We've got the Arsenal triple attack. Saka, Martinelli, and Jesus. I have ditched the Odegaard train after making the decision that he is always the player. While he looks really good on the field, he seems to always be the player who gets the assist to the assist, and that unfortunately doesn't get you FPL points. So I decided I'm going to go with Saka, Martinelli, and Jesus instead of Odegaard. As far as who else are probably locks in my team, I think that goalkeeper duo are probably locks. Rotating Ward and Sanchez look good to me. I think Leon Bailey looks set to start game week 1 at least, and he's playing who I think will be by far the worst team in the league this season in Bournemouth. It's a no-brainer to have him in my opinion. I think Cancelo will stay in my draft. I just brought him in, but I've decided I might as well start with him. I keep saying I think he'll underperform his numbers from last year, but there's nothing yet to suggest that he would actually do that. So I figure I might as well start with him. And then the 2 players that I am unsure about at this point are those Spurs players. If Conte says anything bad about Perisic in his press conference, I'm shipping him out for either Trippier or Kyle Walker. And I am also seriously considering having Holland instead of Kane. But yeah, lots of dilemmas.
Yeah. I mean, it is you do have those couple dilemmas, but I think this team looks like a great team to start game week 1. And I know we were talking about this a little bit, but it's pretty template, but it's it's interesting because I think Jesus and Martinelli and Saka, each one of those players at this point are template players. And yet, I don't think you'll see too many teams starting with all three of them. So I think that the triple up can be a really sneaky play. I'm thinking about it too. Um, and with the Cancelo thing, it really is just a question of do you want where else are you going to spend that 2 million if you downgraded him to a Walker or to a Trippier? I don't know. I don't see where you would spend it unless you're going to upgrade
Yeah.
Bailey or Martinelli, who both seem to
They
be
FPL
insanely good
ended up
value.
giving us such generous prices that I ended up with 2 mil to spare, and I'm like, well, I might as well get Cancelo.
Yep, yep,
But
exactly.
yeah, I think
But
these dilemmas will go all
looking,
the way until the deadline on Friday. To be honest. All right,
yep.
let's look at your team.
So, yeah, my team is pretty similar to yours, to be honest. We've got same forwards. We've both got Salah, Bailey, and Saka. Pretty much what I've done here in comparison to your team is I've upgraded Martinelli to Mahrez and I've downgraded Cancelo to Walker. And then I have Trippier plus zero point 0.5 in the bank instead of Perisic, which I honestly like having Trippier plus the zero point 0.5, just because I think Trippier has good fixtures besides the two in game week 3 and 5, which happen to rotate really well with Andreas. So I really like having him. Like I actually think of him as a somewhat long-term pick. And he's on set pieces and he's been playing well and he has a good fixture at home. And the point 0.5 can come in useful. So I like that. I'm really not sold on the Mahrez and Walker over Cancelo and Martinelli. I think it's pretty. I think even when you say it that way, it seems like more reasonable to go the other way. But that being said, you know, the reason I was on this team structure, as we talked a little bit about before, is because in the past it seemed like a good idea to have the two 8 million mids, just because there were so many options. And now that the options are dwindling, I'm starting to second guess myself there, especially with Martinelli as that viable option. But I guess the only what's really funny is if I did that, we would have, essentially the same team, which is insane. But I think it goes to show that like there's some sense of a convergence here, maybe in like I think that team, something like my team and your team, or some combination of the two, some superposition, is the template team, which has always like in the past like several years done really well at the beginning of the season. So I think both of
Yeah,
us have good reasons
honestly,
to be confident.
you're downplaying your picks here, but I think Mars is an extremely slept on pick, especially if he does keep that starting position at the right wing spot. And I don't think there's really any reason to believe that he won't have that right now. You could raise some questions about, oh, well, is he ever going to play 90 minutes? No, probably not. But City also score for fun, and he's probably one of their best players. So, yeah, yeah,
Yeah, absolutely. And if it's the case that as you were insinuating, if Cancelo really has a slight drop in attacking output, then all of a sudden you're getting the same thing, but for 2 million cheaper with Walker, assuming Cucurella doesn't come. So yeah, I agree. It's either way, I think that both of
yeah.
us are
And
are
we
looking
could
in good
keep
shape
going
for
in
the season.
circles
We're
about
excited.
changing, one or two players in our drafts, but at some point you just got to say fuck it.
Yeah, you just got to say fuck it. But that's what I like is that I think it feels like this preseason we really have been building like I think you would agree with this that every week it feels like we've added maybe like one or two players
Yeah,
that are like set in stone in our drafts. Like Jesus is not leaving my draft.
Yeah,
Salah, Bailey is not leaving mine.
yeah.
Trent, Robertson,
We're
so,
slowly converging, only
we're
for the first
narrowing the
game week to
field.
happen and everyone to go off in different directions.
Exactly.
But yeah.
Exactly. But that's the fun of it.
All right, so now we've got our season predictions of where everybody will finish. I don't know if we should really talk through these that much. Maybe we'll just talk through our top six, our relegation, and then who we think might be like a sleeper team. Um, so I think,
I like it.
especially if Bernardo Silva ends up leaving City, which is the rumor right now, that I think Liverpool will just have a stronger squad than City, which I have never said before this season, which is interesting. So I at this point think Liverpool will probably finish above City. You know, maybe I'm a little too hot on Arsenal, but I am an Arsenal fan, as you can't really see, but I have an Arsenal blanket behind me. But I think that they'll finish definitely in a Champions League spot. Fingers crossed. But I have them above Spurs at the moment. And then for me personally, I think Spurs might not do as well as everyone is suggesting that they will. I know it's Conte. I know he's been getting the best out of Kane and Son. But I just get the feeling that they're going to have some sort of collapse similar to what they had with Mourinho, where he's just going to start butting heads with Levy. And so I could totally see that Spurs, Man United, Chelsea trio that I have in 4, 5, 6 being like pretty interchangeable, to be honest. For my relegation candidates, I think we're in agreement on Fulham and Bournemouth. Bournemouth don't have any fit center backs to start the season. I think Scott Parker literally, like, basically said in an interview that they're going to get relegated. He said something about, like, they need to have realistic expectations for the season or something. So they're already pessimistic. And then, yeah, Fulham, especially with losing Fabio Carvalho, I don't think Andreas is going to be good enough to replace him. And I just don't think that they have the quality either to stay in the league. And then after that, I'm going to go with Southampton as my last team to get relegated. They've been in the Prem for a very long time now. But, it just seems like each year they're slowly losing their quality, and they're just creeping their way down the table. And I think this could be the season that we see them go down. I say my sleeper team are Villa finishing 7th right there. I mean they've been buying a lot of quality players recently, and they definitely underperformed last season. But if Leon Bailey comes good and their squad stays mostly fit, I don't see any reason that they couldn't finish that high.
Yeah, I think that honestly, our general predictions are pretty similar. I think we've
Yeah.
deviated in the specifics, but I could easily see Villa having a fantastic season. Um, I think for mine, obviously, I put City up top. But I really believe that. I mean, I think you have a point about the levels of all the players in the squad, but I do think Holland makes a difference. I mean, there is one way to frame it where it's like City have needed this star forward to come in for so long, and now he's here, and KDB's fit, and he's gonna be giving him some good service, and I'm confident, and I'm also confident in the Champions League, and it will probably fail as it always has, but I at least have some hope. I still think Liverpool will obviously get second. Spurs and Arsenal, I really just did that to piss off the Arsenal fans. I could easily see Arsenal winning out for third there. But I do think that Spurs are not overestimated for this season. I think they're due for a good season. I really do. Um, but that's interchangeable. United are looking good. I think I would keep them in fifth here if Ronaldo leaves, and if he
You
stays,
think
then I
they'll
don't
be
know where the
worse if
fuck
he
they're gonna end
stays?
up. So
You're gonna piss
that
off a lot of Ronaldo
I
stands.
think so. Yeah. Oh yeah. That's the goal here. Um, and then I mean, this is my sleeper is pretty much Newcastle. I think the Saudi money is really underestimated. I think if you look at what happened to City, I mean that change happened within a year of of the Saudis taking over, and they just dominated. And obviously, I don't expect Newcastle to like dominate the league because just City and Liverpool are two of the best teams in the world right now, and Newcastle are just not yet. But they're on that they're on some sort of track in that direction. Um, so I don't know. I can see it, and I can see Chelsea kind of
Yeah.
flopping, but that remains to be seen. And then I fully agree with you about Fulham and Bournemouth. I think yeah, I don't see any hope for them. And I've got Everton going down. It's kind of sad to see them, but I think losing Richarlison is just going to be the final nail driven in the
Yeah.
coffin of the
Everton are just such
Toffees.
a poorly
So
run
that's
club.
just my two
It's
cents.
it's hard to see. I feel bad for their massive fan base, but I can't see them having a very good season either. I had them in 17th. So, but yeah, back to your Newcastle point. They are
Yeah.
building a really quality squad, honestly. And I feel like at the end of last season, everyone was probably talking about, oh, I'm going to load up on Newcastle players for the next season. And then people aren't really doing it that much. I don't have any in my team right now. But I think they could be very slept on, to be honest. Yeah.
Especially when their fixtures turn. It
All
could
right.
be
Well,
a good
that
shout.
wraps up our video. Make sure to like and subscribe. Maybe leave a comment. That'd be kind of lit. And then check us out on Instagram and Twitter at how_to_FPL.
Absolutely. We're really excited for this season, guys.
Bye.
So thanks a lot.